there. But we have to move on to our book chat segment. Joining us for book chat today is the author of this book, Can I Be Married Already? Ifoma Nkem Gbemudu. Now, the book is a reference to biblical answers to questions that plague the hearts of single people. Let's try and dive into the intricacies of the mind behind the book. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
All right, so strong title, first of all. The fact that it has a question mark and an exclamation point right there. Were you worried that this title might make it seem like you were in a hurry to get married or desperate to get married?
Yes, but that was the point, because
Okay.
I wrote the book for the people who were in a tight spot, the people who wish they were married but they're not married, or people who have family members and friends on their neck and they're like, oh, can I just be married so I can just move on so everybody can leave me alone? So yes, that's why.
So I just wanted to know, you're not married yet?
No, I'm not.
Okay, any prospects out there yet?
No.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so you are someone who we could call an expert on this subject. But did you write it because you were under pressure from family members and friends as well, or?
No, I wasn't under pressure. I still am not under pressure. Yeah, my mom mentions it, my dad mentions it, but compared to a lot of other single people my age that I know, I'm in a safe place, you know. But I wrote it because I was also surrounded by people, and I saw they were having difficulties dealing with the pressures that came from different angles, and I thought, okay, let me write things that I know and see how it will help them.
I like that word you use, pressures. And you do very well to start by explaining what it means to be single, especially what the Bible says about what it actually means to be single. But then you also answer this question: is it compulsory for a Christian to marry? And then your answer here is no.
No.
So do you want to, talk a bit about that?
Okay, so from the Bible, because that's where I get the answers that I give there. There's no place that says it is compulsory for you to marry, or not make heaven, or fulfill God's plan and purpose for your life. In fact, what is in the Bible, if you read in the New Testament, is when the Apostle Paul is saying, it may be better for you not to be married, because the person who gets married has all these extra troubles that you have to deal with. So there is it's not compulsory. Okay. So we can take that off. Like, it's a good desire, but don't feel like it's compulsory. If I don't get married, I don't feel God's purpose for my life. That's not true.
So there's a really interesting chapter on what to do until love finds you. So I noticed that you didn't say until you find love. So why did you coin it till love finds you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Okay, I think I found that title. I think Michelle McKinney-Howard has a book of that chapter. I saw that. I was like, this is nice. Okay. I think it was after I published this book, I realized I probably should have put another paragraph.
I actually like the way you coined it. It's not to say it was coined the wrong way, because I like the fact that you make it seem like you do not have to go searching for love. Okay. That love will eventually find you. And then you go further to talk about, the ladies who you say, guard your heart. Dear sister, I know quite well that you and I are sisters. So you break it down. Yes. And you say they should guard their hearts. Tell us exactly what you mean by guard your heart.
Okay, so in this section of the book, I talk about what to do until love finds you, and then I talk about what not to do until love finds you. So in this part where you're talking about guard your heart, I was thinking about what not to do until love finds you. And one of the things for the ladies is you have to be careful how you give away your affection, because one of the things that happens is that when ladies are single and you see this guy and he's good looking, he ticks all your boxes, and maybe he's kind of friendly, if you're not careful, you just have this image in your head that he's the one, and you give him so much access into your life, and the day he walks up to you with his fiancée hanging from his hand, then it becomes a problem. But he never even said anything to you. You got into that place of thinking you guys were a couple because you didn't guard your heart. So that's what that's about. Be careful. Don't give away your affections. Don't assume you're in a relationship with somebody just because the person is nice and the person ticks all your boxes. If he hasn't said anything, he doesn't want to say anything.
Or he's not that into you.
Yes, so
there's a movie about
careful,
that.
Yes.
Okay, so so you do actually slam the sisters here by saying watch the pride and watch the wardrobe. So where were you going with that?
Okay, with watch the pride, I was talking about this attitude that some single ladies may have. Like, you want to be married, but you're wearing this quote of, no, I don't care, it doesn't matter, but deep down, that was what I was aiming at. Like, if this is a desire you have, admit it. Don't hide under pride and be like, no, I don't need a man. I don't know. Nobody's saying about need. It's a good desire. Don't worry about it. And it's a good desire. You want to be married, it's fine. But don't hide under like, I don't need anybody. I can do all by myself. You know, like,
I really didn't know you could find, passages and quotes from the Bible on that particular topic, but you've schooled me here. You also schooled a few ladies who are probably going to be reading this book about their wardrobe. So let's talk to the sisters about that.
Okay, because I was writing from a Christian perspective, I saw the need to talk about walk in love towards your brothers in the Lord. Like,
walk to where?
Walk in love, as in, there's a way you dress and you make it more difficult for him to honor the Lord in his thoughts. So that's where I was coming from. Like, don't get to the point where you feel like you have to be scantily clad so you can get a good man's attention. The good man wants, when you're outside, he doesn't want to see all of that. When you're his wife, he wants you less dressed. But when you're not yet his wife, he wants you to be well dressed in front of everybody. So wait.
There are probably some people that might beg to differ, though, Hey, but we have to take a quick break. We will be back continuing this discussion after this. Welcome back to the studio. An interesting discussion has been going on this amazing book, Can I Be Married Already? The author is in the studio. Her name, once again, is Ifeoma Nkem Gbemudu. If you're just tuning in, it's basically about biblical answers to the questions that plague your heart because you're still single. And now there's a particular area that I've been trying to figure out how to discuss, but it is a very key point in the book. And it does, define lust and carnal desires and being holy at the same time. Now, that particular chapter, I have a feeling people are going to just flip through the book and get there first.
I know when I was talking about book before I published it, I took a picture of that chapter, and some people bought the book. They're like, if I'm buy your book for chapter 5. That's all I want to read. Like, I go to it straight there. So.
All right. So now the truth is, being holy, being one with God, and, having certain desires is a big issue for a lot of people. So how have you addressed it in the book? Okay,
the first thing I said is your sexual desires are from God. So do not feel that you are now unholy. Okay. So that's why the chapter was written that way, Okay. But then because you know that your Scripture teaches to abstain until you're married. There are certain things that you can do. There are lifestyle changes you can make so that it's easier for you to heed those instructions. Okay. So that's what the first thing I say is calm down. Everybody that's trying to make you feel like you're unholy because you have these desires is not true, because this came from God. So he can't give you something that was bad. So let's start from there first. And then we'll talk about lifestyle changes you can make so that you can heed his instructions easier. Okay. So
it's interesting how you put it, and you do quite a lot to describe and, break it down for, people to understand. But there's something I want to quote here. You say, if I've been set free from sin, why do I find it so hard to rein in my desires and live the way God has instructed me to? So why is it so hard?
Okay, because you were ruled by, most of our actions are based on the way we think. Our thoughts affect how we act. So when we're saved, your spirit is redeemed, but there's your thoughts, the way you used to think before. There's the desires that you had before. They don't just disappear, Wow. So one of the reasons why it becomes difficult is if you've developed a certain appetite before you were saved, then you have to retrain your taste buds. Let me put it that way. You have to retrain, or you have to, that's why the Bible talks about renewing your mind, changing the way you think. As you begin to see things differently, your choices, your desires will be different. Your choices will now be different. So one of the reasons why people find it difficult, they know they should be doing this, but then it seems so hard, is because you have habits you now need to change. There's the way you're thinking about things that needs to change first so that your choices will now be different.
I really appreciate how you're breaking all this down, because I don't know how you put this book together. I don't know how you did it, but it must have been from God. There's something significant in your book that you put at the end of every chapter, and that's chapter reflections.
Yes.
Why did you feel the need to put those there?
Because usually when we just read through things, we don't, if you're just reading through, you don't really get the best out of it. It's like eating. If you just take a bite and you swallow it, you don't get the best like when you chew on it and then it digests easily. So reflection is the way you chew on what you've read, so you get the best out of it.
All this chewing you're talking about, we need to chew something in the kitchen right now,
No,
please.
they inspired me.
Yes, indeed, please.